Hey, you. This episode is brought to you by the Anxiety Maze Navigator. And I'm trying all sorts of things today. So enjoy me figuring new things out. I want to practice some new things. So first of all, I want us to take a deep breath in for 4, hold it for 7, and out for 8. And if you're just listening to this, you wouldn't have seen my sphere that I got. It's like this, it will open up and close again. And I like to use it as a visual for you taking in that deep breath, holding it, because then it stays as a large sphere. And then I slowly, as I'm breathing out, make it smaller again. I went to a conference recently and one of the presenters used one of these and I thought I have to get that. So that was one of the things that I did in case you're just listening. But I want to talk to you about the Anxiety Maze Navigator. That is the program that I do with clients. It's a 12-session program and we talk about all things anxiety. My clients find out where their anxiety is coming from. We learn to process it with many different techniques, but breathing is one of them. And then we start planning for when we have anxiety, because everyone has anxiety. And so we just need to plan for it so we can be ready for it. And we can start taking control of our brain and not anxiety controlling our brain. And it has been working so well with all my clients. And in my 200th episode, I'm going to talk a lot about the wins that I've been having in my program, because 200th episode, that's pretty amazing. And I'm also doing a giveaway of some Beats wireless earbuds, and they work for Android or Apple. So if you write a review for this podcast and you take a screenshot of your review and send it to me at ckoffel@cynthiakoffelcoaching.com with the subject line podcast giveaway, or you subscribe to this YouTube channel and you send me a screenshot that where you have subscribed to my YouTube channel, then, and you send that to ckoffel@cynthiakoffelcoaching.com with the subject podcast giveaway, you will be in the drawing to receive a pair of these wireless earbuds from Beats, which is amazing. I'm going to get a pair of them myself because many podcasters are telling me that I need to have headphones or earbuds in, and I haven't ever done that. But by the 200th episode, I probably should do some things that other people are telling me to do. So that's what I'm doing. But I wanted you to know that I do have a program to help teens with all the things we talk about in this podcast. And I want to celebrate with you about my 200th episode. So please send me that screenshot, podcast giveaway. And on my 200th episode, I will be announcing who the winner is. And I'll just send it through Amazon. So it'll be super easy there's no like weird shipping and handling or trying to figure all that out. It'll just come to you by an Amazon package, which we probably all get many times. So anyway, I wanted you to know about that stuff. Now we can get on with the video and the podcast. And I have to do a couple of things because I'm still learning how to do this. I gotta figure out some more things. But like I said, I'm practicing some new things to make this fun. So today's episode is called What Does Anxiety Look Like? And I decided about this episode and like what it was about when I met with 5 of my local clients face to face at a restaurant. They had never met each other. I knew all of them, obviously, but they didn't know each other. And the things that we talked about and the things that they talked about, I listened a lot too and just listened to them compare stories or talk about things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do an episode about what does anxiety look like? Because really for much of my life, I thought anxiety looked like someone who was shy, someone who was an introvert, somebody who stayed home all the time, somebody who stayed in their room all the time. They never did anything outside of their home, or they didn't do anything fun. They didn't have very many friends. They just didn't talk very much. That's what I thought anxiety looked like, because we probably all have a different story, but we have stories about what anxiety looks like. And these clients of mine had stories about what anxiety looks like. And it's just fascinating because that isn't what it looks like at all. And from their conversation, I came up with this podcast episode. Anxiety can look like the head in the lead in the school musical, looking like she or he has all the confidence in the world, but has crippling stage fright backstage. And they're maybe even throwing up before they come on the stage. And when they're on stage, the people that are watching the show are like, oh my gosh, these kids have so much confidence and these kids don't have any anxiety, but they do. Anxiety can look like an extrovert who doesn't know a stranger. They are running around having so much fun with everyone, but they worry that their mom is going to die every day. And they have all these rituals and things in place to make sure that their mom doesn't die. It could be a cheerleader who is somebody who carries her team. She's such a good team player and is so good at being a cheerleader. But she stays up most nights not sleeping because she's worried she might have different diseases. She just worries about having these different diseases. It could be a straight A student who never misses school, but they worry about the next test or the next project all the time because they just have this pressure that a lot of times they put on themselves, the pressure from perfectionism. Now, sometimes their parents might be doing it too, but a lot of times the ones that are super hard on themselves, it's internal pressure, and they feel like they have to be perfect, and they feel like they have to get straight A's to be worthy or valuable. It could be an Instagram influencer who has so many followers, but they second guess everything about themselves. If they're doing the right thing, if they have enough friends, if people like them, if their videos are important, or they have enough likes. It could be a star athlete who is breaking school records, but thinks that their teammates don't like them. Might look like Emma Stone. Now, I don't know. I know who all the people are that I'm mentioning in my podcast today. I'm thinking most of you would know. Emma Stone just recently won awards for her movie last year, so it shouldn't be too old of people. But if you don't know who these people are, you can look them up. Now, I am showing a video today as part of obviously my YouTube is always a video, but I'm showing a video that I put together with my face over it as I'm talking today, just to try something different to see if I can do it. And I was thinking, and I'll show pictures of all these people. Well, then I was like, I think practically everything is copyrighted, and I can't show like clips of their movies or show their faces or have their music or whatever. So I decided to go ahead and still do the video because I want to practice this. So my video has generic pictures about whatever that famous person does. So you'll have to check it out if you're just listening. But I looked up different, like what celebrities or influencers have anxiety. And there's a ton. Like you can go look it up too and see. And most of them have been public about their things that they do. But Emma Stone said that she had her first panic attack when she was 7 years old. And that just really reminded me of my daughter. She told me that she had her first panic attack around that time, and I didn't know it because my daughter said she just had it in her room at night. And I said, well, why didn't you ever tell me? And she said, I thought I was crazy and I wasn't going to tell anyone that I had had that experience. And this is what Emma Stone said about her anxiety. She was at a friend's house, and all of a sudden I was just sitting in her room, and I had this deep knowing that the house was on fire. despite all the evidence to the contrary. Stone remembers her chest start to tighten. She phoned her mother, who didn't understand what was happening, but came to pick her up anyway. And Stone says her fear eventually subsided that day, but the anxiety persisted. So she started in therapy around age 8, and because it was really hard for me to leave, she started to have a hard time leaving her house or to go to school. And she said she started to live in fear of having panic attacks. So despite her anxiety, or maybe because of it, she began acting when she was 11, and by age 15, she convinced her parents to move to Los Angeles so she could do this full time. And she said that she thought it was this acting helped her because she could take all this energy and these big emotions and put them into a character, and it kept her present because she had to pay attention to her lines. She had to pay attention to where she was going as far as like blocking and all the directing and stuff. So I thought that was really fascinating that she took something that's hard to manage and something that, well, it can be hard to manage, and something that was bothering her, and she made it into something that was helpful to her in what she wanted to do as a career. So I thought that was a great example. Selena Gomez, she said she was depressed and anxious, and she started having panic attacks right before getting on stage or right after leaving the stage. She says, "I know firsthand how scary and lonely it can feel to face anxiety and depression by yourself at a young age. If I had learned about my mental health earlier, being taught about my condition in school, or by a life coach, I'm going to say, that way my journey could have looked very different. The world needs to know that mental health matters. It's just as important as your physical health. And I knew, and I wish that we could all acknowledge that, not just words, but through our actions. And that's what I want to be doing. I want to be getting this knowledge into the hands of young people so that if you knew all about anxiety, what does it look like? How do I deal with it? Knowing that everyone has it to some extent, you can make such better decisions in your life because you don't feel like there's something wrong with you. You don't feel like you're going crazy. Then you have somebody there to help you. Ryan Reynolds. He says, "I remember I'd be standing backstage before the curtain would open, and I would think to myself, I'm going to die. I'm literally going to die. The curtain's going to open, and I'm just going to be a symphony of vomit, just like something terrible is going to happen. I certainly have my own rituals and those kinds of things that help me stay grounded and keep my mind from spinning out of control. Sometimes I'm really good at it, and sometimes I'm not. And I love that too, because even when we know what to do, even when we have the tools and techniques, sometimes we're not going to be as good at it as we are at other times, and that's okay too. And that's what's great about having other adults to support you, because maybe your parents can help you, and I hope they do. And many of my clients have wonderful parents that help them through these things. But if your parents aren't quite buying into what's going on with you, there are other adults who can help you with that. Simone Biles. We kind of publicly saw her anxiety from the Olympics because she went and then she decided not to do, I don't know if it was some or all of her events because of her mental health. And she knew that would be dangerous for her to perform if she was in the mental health state that she was. Biles said that she has always had anxiety, but it got really bad in the months leading up to the Olympics. She said that she was overwhelmed and felt like she was going to pass out before her first event in Tokyo. I had to focus on my mental health and not jeopardize my health and well-being. We have to protect our minds and our bodies and not just go out and do what the world wants us to do. And I thought that was so great. And there is a fine line between I need to take care of myself, I'm going to stay in bed or stay home or take a break, and I need to push through this. And again, an adult can help you figure out, Is this something I push through, or is this something I need to take a break from? Everyone has anxious thoughts. Our brains are supposed to be scanning the environment for things that we should be worried about. That's what keeps us alive. But some brains take it to another level and it feels unmanageable. And it isn't unmanageable. It just feels like it's unmanageable. There are different ways to manage it, and some things work better for others and for some people. So just because your friend is doing something that helps manage their anxiety and you try it and it doesn't work, doesn't mean that there isn't something out there that can help you manage your anxiety. It's just that whatever that tool is doesn't work for you as well. This week, I had a client say, I don't want to have to manage it. I want it to be easy. We all want that about everything. Now, I don't have to it's not a struggle for me to manage my anxiety. When I have anxious thoughts, I can pretty much ignore them or think about them and be like, oh, that's fine. That's not going to happen, or it's not going to bother me. And I know that other people can't just flip a switch like that. And that's okay. We're going to find some ways to help you manage it where you do feel like it is more manageable. And it takes work, and it's never going to go away, which I think sometimes people see as bad news. But part of the things that I teach is that we need this system in our body to tell us when something is wrong. We just need to teach that part of our body or our brain what is truly a life or death situation and what is something that we want to go and do, like go to school or be on stage or ask someone out on a date or drive, or all the things that we let anxiety take away from us. I don't want to eat food in moderation. I want to eat whatever I want, but that's never going to be good for me. And I also feel sick afterwards. And so it's just better for me to go ahead and do moderation and still feel good, even though I don't really want to do it. I don't want to have any bad thoughts about my life and what I'm doing, because I love my life. But sometimes I feel like I don't like how I look or what I'm saying or how my business is going or whatever. I don't want bad things to happen to anyone, but bad things are going to continue to happen in this world because that's the world that we live in. So I can create feelings through my thoughts that make this life fun and doable, even if bad things are going to happen, even if sometimes I have bad thoughts, because I can get faster and faster at learning to turn those things around. And that is something that you can learn to do too. So if you are a teen and you want to learn how to feel better, or you're a parent who wants to help your child or teen feel better, I want to help you. So get on my calendar. You can go to cynthiakofelcoaching.com/schedule-a-call. I know that's kind of crazy. I'll put that in the show notes. But if you go there, it'll go right to my calendar. Get on my calendar. Let's talk about anxiety. Let's talk about what's going on. And I can help you feel better. And it's the summer. And this is the perfect time to do it because you have a little bit more time to work on it. And you'll be totally ready for when school starts. Because I know that most of you probably have more anxiety about school than you do in the summertime when you're doing whatever you want. Well, mostly whatever you want. So, but this is a perfect time to work on it because we can practice some techniques and skills now in kind of low stakes, not really so anxious situations. And then you'll be ready when things are more anxious. So let's talk about how I can help your teen and your family today.